Hi, my name is Michael, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Does consciousness create reality separate from our minds? Consciousness, according to experts, consciousness arises from the brain stem. That it creates feelings, emotions, as well as our physical awareness. According to with an article, Psychology Today, Dr. Peter Fenwick, a neuropsychiatrist, has studied the human brain for 50 years. He takes the perspective that consciousness actually exists outside of the brain. Now, is he correct? How does consciousness exist outside of the brain? Doesn't the brain control consciousness? Do you take his view that the brain does not create or produce consciousness, but filters it? The brain produces consciousness, but it does not create it. It filters it. Well, what creates consciousness? Well, apart from this existence, and reality shows a continuation of an existence long after people have died or have passed away. According to body count, 60 million deaths a year. 60 million deaths a year, and yet the Earth's rotation continues as it always does. The solar system operates in a uniformity pattern despite 60 million deaths a year. So where does consciousness go after these people have passed away? Scientific experts say consciousness continues to work after the body has depleted itself or ceased to exist. Scientific researchers also say after reviving people who have gone into cardiac arrest for whatever abnormalities or whatever their experiences was that have caused their death, they were able to come back through consciousness, and they were able to explain to these experts and neurologists and clinical doctors about what they've seen after they have been revived. They were able, through acoustic and perceiving concepts they were hearing and seeing, they were able to tell them exactly what they saw. And they were able to explain what they've done in order to prepare to revive them back to life again. That is amazing. Consciousness, according to Dr. Fenwick and other experts who support his ideology, say that consciousness can exist apart from our reality. But does consciousness create our reality? What do you think? Do you think consciousness creates our reality? What is interesting is that our subconscious thoughts in dreams can create feelings and emotions the same way our conscious thoughts can create feelings and emotion. The only difference is subconscious thinking is when your body is on a third cycle, rhythmatic cycle, which means that that's as close to death you can possibly get. You can continue to create your own reality automatically on its own. It creates its own reality, and it corresponds as if the subconsciousness was conscious of its surroundings. That is amazing, and it is deep thinking. When subconsciousness takes its place as far as a rhythmatic motion, it collects slideshows from the subconscious part of the brain, which we call the hippocampus. And what the subconscious does is it filters in, it doesn't filter out, it stores actually. It stores everything that you see, everything you say, everything you do. The hippocampus part of the brain is storing all the information like a slideshow. And when you sleep at night and you go in your third psychorhythmatic sleep, that's as close to death you could possibly get, what it does is it plays itself out on autopilot. The slideshows just play itself out over and over and over again. It does those things separately from the reality and separately from the reality that we are a part of. What I mean is that the subconscious mindset, it takes in what is already in existence. The solar system operates in a uniformity motion. It does its thing in layman's terms. It just operates the way nature has created it to operate. Everything around us operates in accordance to the way nature intended for it to operate. But the question is, does our consciousness create a reality, or is reality separate from our consciousness? What do you think about that? According to a body count from a site, that article I was reading, it talks about 60 million people a year dies. That's correct. 60 million people a year dies from whatever they have experienced, whatever have caused their deaths. There's a lot of things that can take us out, and according to the census I was reading, it talks about 60 million people a year dying. Now, there are 4 or 5 other sources that you could compare with that source. Maybe the numbers might be different, maybe 5-10% margin of error, but for the most part, the number is very high. So if 60 million people, using that number, dies every year, just think about it. The world is still operating. The solar systems are doing its thing. It is operating in a uniformity manner, as it always does, apart from our consciousness. So our consciousness, it only reacts to the reality that is already before us or in observance. There are clinical doctors, neurologists, and experts in the field, scientific experts who study the brain, and some of these experts have actually revived people who have lost consciousness. They had no heart rate, no pulse, no brain activity, and they were able to revive them back to life again. These people are able to tell their story. They have told these experts in the field step by step of the procedures and what they have done to revive them, bring them back to life. They told them what they've said. They told them, these experts, where they stood in their clinical labs, and they were able to tell them about the conversations that was being said, the dialogues, and uh, it's quite interesting. So if they were able to respond after being revived and were able to discuss with these clinical doctors about and having a conversation when they have died within 5-10 minutes, sometimes 3 to 5 minutes, without no pulse, no heart rate, and they're having a conversation as if they they were still alive. That is amazing. Consciousness lives on and on and on long after death, according to these experts who have really looked into the field and studied the human brain and in the mind as to how it relates to our universe. There's more out there that we just can't quite understand because we don't have all the information. But I just want to know, what is your opinion about that? What do you believe? Do you believe consciousness continues outside of our existence? I believe, Dr. Fenwick, I believe that consciousness never dies, and that after our deaths, we'll still be able to travel. We'll become time travelers after our deaths. We'll be able to see other planets, other solar systems. We can continue to continue our process of life. Matter of fact, consciousness can also return back to this earth. There is no laws on the book. I don't care what people say, mythology, doctrines, dogmas, whatever the books that are out there who say that once a person dies, he goes into another realm and never returns again. I believe that is 100% false, because these people were revived after they had no heart rate, no pulse, and they couldn't see a thing either. They could not see a thing. They could not hear, so-called hear a thing, hear anything, no pulse, nothing. They were like clinically dead completely. And yet they were able to explain to the doctors exactly what they said. They were able to explain what the doctors were doing in preparations to revive them back to life again. That is amazing. So yes, I believe that knowledge, reality, and our existence continue, but it does not create reality. Reality is already in existence. Consciousness is a part of our reality, but our consciousness does not create our reality. Where who or what creates the reality? That's for another discussion. What do you think? Thanks for watching my YouTube channel.